This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
And welcome into Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL Coach K. Stevenson. Today on this Thursday afternoon, little rainy outside once again. Going to be a beautiful weekend ahead of us. But none of that matters, Coach. We are inside the studio here in our air-conditioned building on this Thursday afternoon. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well. We got an awful lot going on around us in the football world, so should be an interesting day. And we've got a most interesting guest on today who's going to shed light on many, many different subjects. So anyway, it should be an outstanding day.
Absolutely. Bill Polian will be joining us, Coach. That's our special guest right there. And you've heard from on this show before with Bill Polian. Bill is just fantastic. I mean, all that he's done, all he's been through. Coach, I know he's a close friend of yours as well. I know our listeners are excited, and we are as well.
Well, he's the best. When you hear from Bill, you're going to hear nothing but what he believes to be the truth. And you're going to hear somebody who's extremely capable, extremely intelligent, and gets things done as much or better than anybody I've ever been around. He's a Hall of Famer. He's in the Hall of Fame for a reason. And I'll tell you, he's the best hire I ever made was hiring Bill Polian. So he's gracious enough to come on and join us, and we look forward to it. Not only today, but we'll have Bill, with the Combine coming up, and he's one of the best talent judges in the country, and we'll be talking to him today about some talent questions that have come up on this show, and then we'll be hearing from him as we go through the spring.
Yeah, Bill's coming on at 12:15, and Coach, the one thing I love about Bill Polian as well is we hear a lot of people talk about they're influenced by what the media says. This is solely what based off of what he's learned throughout all this time in the NFL and with different players and teams and just scouting. I mean, this man has done it all from GM to the director to a scout, whatever it may be. You talk about a Hall of Famer, just a top-notch guy here. But Coach, I want to move to a couple things before we get to Bill at 12:15. The NFL playoff revision, I think that's the biggest news right now. Now, we heard about the NFL, the CBA, talking about adding a 17th game. Well, that seems like that's going to happen. Now the NFL comes out, and they're meeting today, actually. They got the owners in there today. The Players Association is supposed to be via conference call there, talking about adding a team from each league to the playoffs, which means, 14 teams will be there. Now, a couple of things that adjust to that, Coach, is instead of having two teams that have a bye, now one team has a bye. Now, I ask you, this just from a coaching perspective and then a fan perspective as well, looking on the outside in here, is this a good move on the NFL's part?
I think it's probably a good move. I hate to just carte blanche endorse something like this because it is quite out of the norm. And it's going to take a little change. And somebody's going to find, any number of people are going to find something wrong with it. But I think it's a good move for the NFL. I think it's a good move for the fans. Playoff games are certainly something everybody looks forward to. There's total interest in it. It creates more interest during the season because you've got another team that can make it. So your team may not be out of it when you think they are. All teams will be playing on Wild Card Weekend with the exception of the one bye team in each conference. So, with that being said, I don't see anything offhand. I don't see anything but good with this announcement. I think it's good for players in the long run too, because obviously it puts more money into the league, which should expand the cap room too. So I think it's good for everybody involved.
Yeah, when you look at this, also the players, they would go from 48% of total revenue to 48.5%. And for those out there that don't understand how much money that is, that's a big jump as well. 0.5%, I know, doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. My thing on this, Coach, I told you earlier before the show started, I'm a bit of a curmudgeon, I guess, when I talk about, with MLB talking about changing their playoff. Of course, the NBA already has a big playoff perspective there. The NFL changing it. I thought the NFL was perfect. I'm starting to warm up to this. As a fan, you definitely love it. I agree with you there. And it adds a little more edge, I guess, to be that number one team there. When I ask you this, though, Coach, with the NFL opening up, changing things right now for the playoff perspective, we've heard it last year, and I just want to throw this out there because I hear this question a lot. The whole issue of a team that was 8-8, a team that could have won a conference at 7-9 or division. Do we see maybe down the road this whole issue? And this is, of course, talking about Dallas and the Eagles hosting a playoff game with the record that they had, where Seattle or whoever it may be, having to come in town there. Is that something that we could see changing down the road as well, or is that's going to have to hold off for a few years?
That's an interesting question. That could be in the conversation when they go to this. That could be something that they talk about as well. I think it certainly should be discussed. Now, whether they do it or not changes the perspective on winning your division. So it would be a bigger change than people think. Some people think, well, it's just team with the better record. But being in a certain conference may create advantages or disadvantages depending on what the other teams look like. So you got to be cognizant of that. And but I do think the conversation will come up, and it's certainly something that should be addressed.
Absolutely. And listen, Coach, I want to move on to a couple of the things here, a couple notes. Greg Robinson, of course, the Cleveland Browns, we seem to have them always on our radar here, no matter if it's in season, off season, whatever it may be. He was arrested on a drug charge he had 157 pounds of marijuana in a rental vehicle on the U.S.-Mexico border here. That is this not sports. I mean, he's, of course, a really good lineman when you look at it. And, man, this is just such a bad situation. It's crazy to think about this. You think about NFL, the money and all this other stuff going on, just someone getting involved in this. But, I mean, it happens. But it's such a shame.
Well, it is. It's a terrible, terrible shame, and what it obviously is. I mean, you don't end up with all that much marijuana in your or drugs in your car if you're not dispersing it some way. But if when you look at his play has not been what they expected over the last 2 to 3 years. It's gone kind of gone downhill. In fact, I think he may have been benched last year. I may be wrong. I think he was benched for a couple of games last year.
That whole offensive line should have been benched.
Yeah, well, that's true. But you gotta hold up your end of the bargain, And he's making all that money, high round draft choice. That could be the end of the road there, because that's going to be a serious felony charge, and I think the Fed's going to get him on it. So, you're looking at maybe that being the end of football.
Yeah, it's a sad situation here. Of course, I don't know. We'll see what happens with it. Of course, if he's convicted, he could spend up to 20 years in prison. The former Auburn standout, you just hate to see that with a guy right there. You never know what's going on. But moving on, Coach, I know a headline, and I guess this is interesting for some people here. When you talk about the Chargers, the Chargers came out as one of the favorites for Brady, and I think that's kind of calmed down a little bit here. The now headline is Tyrod Taylor the future of the Chargers? Now, Tyrod Taylor, I understand with Buffalo, this is a guy, he's an athlete. I'll say he's an athlete. As of a quarterback, I don't know. I could see this guy being, once again, like a Taysom Hill. I know that he's been around a while here. Of course, the Chargers are rumored to pick up Justin Herbert. That's kind of where they're going to look for their quarterback of the future, letting Phillip Rivers go. Coach, you've seen Tyrod Taylor play as well. Is he the future of the Chargers? There's no way, right? Or am I wrong here?
No, I don't think he is the future of any National Football League team. He's done better or done more in the way of participation in the game than I ever thought he would at this point. Now, I think probably you're on the right trail with Justin Herbert going to San Diego. That looks like that may be an ideal spot for them to be situated, and he certainly is a quarterback that could fall to him, and he's a well-respected quarterback. We're going to hear more about him today, and we will find out more and more about him during the Indianapolis affair. There, we'll know a heck of a lot more about him in the next few days.
We may be hearing some more Indianapolis coming up in the show as well, Coach. Not going to say anything else other than that of what you told me earlier.
Yeah.
Couple things here at college. Alabama offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian, well, he's interviewed for the Colorado job. I think it caught a lot of people by surprise there. Coach, when you look at Steve Sarkisian, of course, bouncing around a little bit, he found kind of a niche there with Alabama. We know this happens with Saban. Look, he's went through so many coaches that have went on to take other head coaching jobs. When you look at Colorado job for Steve Sarkisian, and just looking for the Colorado job for what it is here, and a man like Steve Sarkisian in his position, is this a big surprise that you see him going and interviewing for this Colorado job?
I can't say it's a surprise. I think maybe he better keep an eye on this Alabama situation because I'll tell you, he needs to stay there if he possibly can. Now, I don't know what Saban thinks about him interviewing for the Colorado job. I'm sure that he would back him. Just like you'd back any of your assistants if they have a chance to improve their position in life. So my guess is that he got the approval from Saban, and that he would certainly have to be on the radar, I would think, at Colorado. Think about the Colorado football team now. Think about the school. Think about what they've been through the last few years. And also think about how big a part credibility could play in the role of that football team. Sarkisian would give them credibility out there from the standpoint of his exposure in not only the big-time college football, but the National Football League, a taste of that. So I would think he's certainly got to be in the picture, despite his shortcomings. He's got to be in the picture at Colorado.
Yeah, I think it would be a good hire for Colorado if you can get a guy like that that's been in a organization of Alabama as well. Not only that, with his knowledge that he already has. Look, he's a fairly good recruiter there, a good offensive mind. I think it'd be interesting for Colorado. They definitely need a spark right now after Mel Tucker leaving. And the other two rumored potential targets here are Brett Bielema and Eric Bieniemy with the Kansas City Chiefs. I like Sarkisian out of those three names there. I'll just throw that out there for you.
Yeah, well, Bieniemy might be a very, very strong name there because he went to school there, was an All-American there, and has done a good job at Kansas City. But I think from a pure coaching standpoint, you would think that Sarkisian might have an advantage because of his overall experience. But Bieniemy might be he might have the job locked away. I don't know.
It could be his dream job there to go back to his alma mater, but it's going to be interesting to see how the Colorado job plays out. This is the most, media coverage Colorado's got in a while.
You bet.
So we'll just say that for what it is. But, Coach, we're up against a break here. When we come back, we're going to have the Hall of Famer Bill Polian on with us. Here, you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Redbox has the newest movies fresh from the theater, plus award winners and nominees starting at under $2 a night. Now at the box and on demand. Ford vs. Ferrari. Matt Damon and Christian Bale star in this high-octane thrill ride. Travel back to 1966 and watch Ford challenge Ferrari at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Head to one of the 41,000 Redbox locations or stream instantly on demand. Prices may vary by location, subject to applicable taxes. Additional terms at redbox.com.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Pensacola's home to hometown sports, covering the biggest high school games. UWF football, catching every game of the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. Plus, local sports commentary with the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. And weekend sports talk with Davis Allen and Justin Patrick on the Sports Call. We are local. We are ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Saturdays are live and local on Sports Call with Davis Allen and Justin Patrick.
The Astros are a joke.
The MLB is a joke as well.
The MLB, they don't know how to handle this.
Exactly.
They don't know how to handle this, so how do they handle it? Terribly.
You can't handle P. Bros that way and then handle these Astro players this way. It doesn't add up.
It's sports talk with a lot of chill. Every Saturday from 11 to 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL coach Kay Stevenson. And Coach, our guest, I know a special friend of yours as well. Listen, this guy has done it all. GM, from a scout to a director here, and it's proven. This is a Hall of Famer. I mean, this man needs no introduction here, but I know he's a really good friend of yours. We are so happy he joined us on the show. Go ahead, Coach.
Always very, very happy to have Bill on, and I appreciate him taking the time to come on and be with our audience here. It's a real pleasure. And, one thing you leave out about Bill that I've often told people about is that he not only was everything that you said and the best, but he also was a coach. Not many people realize that. And I think that experience was invaluable in his overall outlook on the game. But at any rate, Bill, thank you for coming on again.
Always my pleasure, Kay. Always my pleasure.
Let's start. I've got a number of topics here I want to chat with you about, but I want to start with the. It's very very unusual we would have somebody with your background to come on to talk about this XFL. This looks like, based on what we know about there's a market for spring football. We know that. Failures in the past have been obvious. This looks to be something that may be quite sturdy and may have a chance to stand in there and do the job. It looks good right now. What are your thoughts about the XFL?
Well, it does. I agree with you. Let's talk a little about what's down in the weeds. First of all, they have the money. Vince McMahon has committed $500 million to it. Second of all, they have the exposure, largely because of the value of his wrestling product to Fox and to ESPN. They've agreed to carry the games. And my understanding is that it's done while there's probably no financial return to the XFL, there is the exposure issue, and there may even be some advertising return down the road, but there's no cost to the XFL. So that makes it work financially. In addition, when the Alliance of American Football, which I was briefly involved in, went away, they were able to lower the salaries, the average salary of players to $55,000 a year. Well, I've done the numbers, and that's the right number in terms of break even, in terms of cost.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the key is, can you draw 20,000 people a game? Because that's the real break even number. And thus far, in Seattle, they've done it. In other places, they have not. And attendance seems to be decreasing slightly, but not terribly. So if you're in the 15 to 17 range beginning, and you're selling 10,000 season tickets in Seattle, for example, which, by the way, surprised me. I thought that was more of a soccer market than a football market, absent the Seahawks, but apparently it's not. If you can get to 20,000, then you got yourself in a very comfortable position. Mm-hmm. And the product on the field, I would say, is somewhat comparable to what we did with the AAF. They've got some experimental rules in there, which I'm not crazy about, but they don't hurt the game either.
Yeah.
So there's I give that a kind of a neutral grade. They do not have top flight quarterbacks. That's always a problem, and it's the nature of minor league football, if you will, that those top flight quarterbacks aren't there. But absent that, I think it's been pretty good. Cardell Jones has had a good debut, so maybe that's a guy that can hang their hat on. And in Houston, with the run and shoot offense, the young man down there has done pretty well. So, and in the long run, the run and shoot may be the answer, as it was for the USFL, because you can play with smaller receivers and you can play with smaller quarterbacks, and you don't have to have a guy who's got a cannon for an arm. So from a football standpoint, they may have stumbled on something that works for non-NFL football. I talked to a scout the other day who has specialized in doing that, and he said Alabama would beat these teams in the XFL. Clemson probably would. Beyond that, probably a toss-up. So that tells you that the quality of play is pretty high, basically.
Yeah, you're right.
Now, the big question is the NFL collective bargaining agreement apparently is going to get done. Hopefully, is going to get done in the next couple of weeks. If the NFL expands the practice squad, which I suspect they will do, because with 17 games, you're going to have to expand the roster in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
If they expand the practice squad at a minimum to, let's say, 13 guys, 12 or 13 guys, now you're cutting into the kinds of people who can go play in the XFL, because if the NFL is expanding the practice squad, they're not going to want their guys playing in a spring league. So that is not good for the long term of non-NFL spring football. If the rosters expand, let's say to maybe 54 or 55 to accommodate the 17th game, excuse me, which is probably coming in 22 or 23, that will hurt as well. Anything that narrows the pool is difficult for the product on the field. So but that's down the road. For now, I think they're perfectly positioned because they have the money and they have the big time exposure with Fox and ESPN to make a go of it.
Very good. I would agree certainly, Bill, with that assessment. Let me. That's an interesting thought about the run and shoot. Of course, I think it's just a matter of time before whoever is coaching defense in that league, they're going to come up with something that's going to inhibit the success of the run and shoot. But you may be right. That may be something that for quite a while they can have success in that league. I think they're going to have trouble with their big people, as most would expect. It's going to be very difficult for them to get quality. It's difficult for NFL. It's difficult for anybody to get the quality big people, and that's certainly going to be a bone of contention for them. I want to jump here just a little bit, and let's skip to college here for a minute and talk about the quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, Tua, and I've got a number of questions about each, but controversy going on. I don't see why there should be, but there is. But which one do you think is the better quarterback, Joe Burrow or Tua?
Well, if Tua did not have the injury history, and most importantly, the hip injury, from a pure talent standpoint, it would be Tua, because he's a quick twitch athlete. He's got incredibly fast feet. He's got an incredibly fast delivery. I've not stood on the sidelines with both guys, but in looking at tape, and I've looked at a lot of tape of them, I think that Tua's got a stronger arm. Not that that's at the end of the world, but he does. So I would go Tua. It would be close, but I would go Tua. But the injury complicates everything, and the reason it does is because it's a hip injury. Now he does have injury. He's got injuries with his ankles previously, so that's a concern. But the hip injury is a real concern, because once you dislocate your hip, you're prone to do it again. First of all. Second of all, as we both learned in Buffalo, when we had a defensive lineman there that had a hip injury, there's not good blood flow to the joint, so it doesn't heal very quickly. And then the other thing is, how extensive was the fracture? I mean, what we're hearing is public information, which is not medical information. So when Tua goes to the combine and brings with him his scans, and perhaps I'm certain he'll take new scans, we'll find out at least through the grapevine how extensive the injury is and therefore what the prognosis is. Having said that, I think he's a good enough prospect that unless the doctor said to me, no, you can't take him because he's probably not going to play at all, I might be inclined to take a chance someplace in the first round. That's how good a player he is.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both outstanding quarterbacks. I've had a chance to see both quite a bit and look forward to the other looks here that we're going to get in the not too distant future. But I think Burrow,
Joe Burrow. I'll say this about Joe Burrow, by the way. I've heard him compared to a lot of people, and I don't want to put the Iggy on him by making this comparison, but he's got some traits as a player that both Manning boys had. I mean, he sees the field, he keeps his head up,
yep.
He delivers the ball, he does it on time, he's accurate, he's uncannily accurate from virtually any platform. So he's a special guy too.
Yeah, he is.
I don't want to leave the impression that he's not.
And you could tell just watching, even on television, that the guy. They did a good job coaching him. Give him that Brady coming over from the Saints, and they've done a good job coaching him. But he was exceptional with his pre-snap look, recognizing defenses, understanding matchups one-on-one, maybe talent against talent too. I can't talk to that, but he certainly almost always would go into the one-on-one in the matchups. Uncanny, and got rid of the ball very, very quickly. You could tell that he knew where he was going. I think I like both these quarterbacks. I think both are unusual talents, and it's just a shame with Tua. You know what we used to say that affects Tua to some extent? What we used to say about the 3 red flag rule. You know, one, that means injury that cost game time, not hurt, not a hurt. You play with hurts, you can't play with injury. But if it's an injury, that's a shame, and it's it happens, and we just don't worry about it. We get healed up and go on and play. If it happens twice, you say, well, coincidences will happen, and let's hope this is not anything more than that. And you get well, and you come back and you go play. If it happens a third time, then you've got to look at it as possibly being something chronic, and that's when the real red flag goes up on somebody. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a consideration. But if you're sitting down there, let's say at 10, or you're even Miami, and maybe somebody wants to come up for Herbert, or you're Miami and you're sitting there at 5. He's such a good player, and by all accounts, a good guy. I might be inclined to take a chance. I would too, Bill. I agree. I agree totally with you. Absolutely. Because if you hit the jackpot, you hit the jackpot big time. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Now let's jump to Herbert. And where does he fit? He's obviously the third guy they're talking about. I want to ask you about him. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, well, he's the third guy, and he was impressive on tape. There was very little to knock about him on tape, and then he was even more impressive at the Senior Bowl. He's a brilliant student. He's in effect as an undergrad. I don't know whether he's a graduate student or undergraduate student, but in either case, he's a tutor for students. Other college students in the science curricula. So just imagine a guy playing quarterback at the highest level of college football, and he's tutoring students. Right? He's brilliant. Yeah, that's good. So that's always a plus for a quarterback. Secondly, I think he processes quite well. He's really a good athlete. He can run well. He throws well. His arm is strong. He's accurate. What you see
is a little diffidence in his play, in the sense that he waits for stuff to come open, which, by the way, he's probably coached to do. That's part of the air raid type approach, the spread type approach. And secondly, he doesn't force the ball at all. He's pretty conservative with the ball. Well, I keep saying, when people tell me that, what's wrong with that? You want Jameis Winston throwing 30 interceptions? You don't, and I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's exciting, but you don't win football games doing that. And then he's pretty conservative in terms of how he conducts the game. Now, apparently, there was some talk, and this is all the usual garbage that you hear around this time of the year, that, well, he's a kind of an introverted personality, and as a result, he wasn't a great teammate or a great leader. Well, first of all, that'll be determined by the psychologists. All of it, most of that stuff is just BS.
Sure.
But clearly, he heard it, because at the Senior Bowl, he went out of his way after every completion, whether it was 1-on-1, 7-on-7, teamwork, in the game, to run down the field and high-five or fist bump or shake the hand of the guy who made the reception. So he was out there showing people, hey, I care, I want my teammates to care, and he had a great showing in the Senior Bowl. So he's the third guy. I would not be afraid, absent something that came up psychologically that we're not aware of. I would have no hesitation in taking it.
You're right. Okay, I don't I'm interested to see him at the combine. I hope he's gonna work out there.
By the way, he's 6'6".
Yeah,
and his delivery looks a little long. When obviously anybody that's that long is going to have a longer delivery, but he's got a good enough arm that the ball hops out of there quickly and gets to the receiver on time. So I don't see that as a drawback. It didn't show up at all in the Senior Bowl, not at all.
One more quick, because of the area we're in. The kid from Georgia, quarterback.
We're both drawing a blank on his name, but I know exactly who you mean.
Jake Fromm.
Jake Fromm, yes. Okay, arm strength average, accuracy average, leadership solid, athleticism not in the group of the three that we just talked about. Production good. Performance under pressure, not as good as the top three, principally the South Carolina game, where he didn't perform well at all. But anybody can have a bad game. Good, solid guy. Quarterbacks are at such a premium. If he has a good combine and he interviews well, he could jump into the top of the second or the bottom of the first. I think I would see him as a potential solid backup in the NFL. That's kind of the grade I have on him in my own mind. And I saw quite a bit of him both on tape and in person.
Yeah, you think maybe he's a late first, early second?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do. He's got enough going for him that, if you're in the market for a quarterback, take a chance. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. All right, I've got to jump to a couple of other things here quickly, Bill. The big topic of conversation all over the country, really, and it's, I guess some of it's dealing in conspiracy theory football, but Tom Brady, where might he end up? And there are all types of theories as to where he might end up, some valid, some not. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, let's say the following. I think from a scouting standpoint, he's got to be protected. For the listeners, we'll go back in time when you and I were working together, and you asked me about a proposed trade, and I said, okay, here's what we got to do, Coach, in order to make this work. So we're giving him a view into what really happens when you have these discussions. First of all, he's got to be protected. So think about the teams that have the offensive lines who can protect him. Second of all, he's got to have good receivers who can get open. You saw what happened this year when he doesn't have good receivers who can get open. He only had one, Edelman.
Yeah.
So that's number two. And then number three, it would certainly help at his age to have a really solid running game.
Yep.
To go with him. Because he's been at his best as he's gotten older when he's got that running back that he can hand the ball to and utilize his skills to be able to read defenses. And then finally, you've got to have an offense that utilizes that incredible brain and the ability to dissect defenses. There's no defense you can give him that he hasn't seen, that he can't dissect, and that he can't beat, provided he has the people and the time. So why would you want to run, let's say, an I-type offense with two tight ends with Tom Brady at quarterback? I mean, that's silly. So you got to have a system that essentially allows him to operate it on his own. So when you think about where he might go, why then, or where he would be a fit, think about those teams. Tennessee, I don't know. He knows the head coach, that's for sure. The head coach trusts him. They were teammates. They have decent receivers. The offensive line is more a run-blocking offensive line than pass-blocking offensive line. So I don't know that that's necessarily the best place, but it's in the running. Sacrilegiously for people in New England, Indianapolis would be the best place, I think, because they've got the best offensive line. They got a running back. T.Y. Hilton's still there. They can add some receivers. They play 10 games in perfect weather a year, and they got a defense that's ready to win right now. So that might be the best of all places, applying that criteria. Tampa Bay would be interesting. Don't know that the offensive line is quite good enough to protect him. Bruce Arians certainly would. I mean, they'd fit together like a hand in a glove. And then, you mentioned to me yesterday when we talked, there's some people rumoring about Dallas, and I thought about it, and I said, well, you know what? If Dak Prescott's asking for $40 million a year, and you can't get a long-term deal done with him, why not consider it?
Well, I think
he wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah.
Because
I think
all the
they
other
have to.
criteria except the defense fits for Dallas.
Yeah. I think they have to be there. If you look at Brady and Jerry Jones. Brady, you can bet, is getting all the help he can. He's a thorough guy, and he's getting all the information that he can about each possibility. And the same things that you just talked about are exactly going to be at the top of his priority list. Now, he is going to want to win. I think he's looking at playing 2 years. This is my guess. Looking at playing 2 solid years, maybe 3, but certainly 2 solid. And think about the guy who owns the Dallas Cowboys. He's been gearing that football team up for a number of years now. He felt that he was in a position to contend, not only to be a playoff team, but possibly get to the playoffs. He's got a good offensive line. They have a good running game. They have the one receiver that I'm sure they could add to if they brought Brady on. Their defense has suffered a little bit recently, but probably not out of the realm of returning to some type defensive productivity. This is what he wants to do more than anything. Jerry Jones, his priority is not signing Dak Prescott. His priority is winning a Super Bowl. Now, he's going to look at what may be available. What does he have to have? What does he have to do? If it's signing Zach Prescott, he'll sign Zach Prescott to whatever he ends up wanting. But I don't think that's his priority. I think his priority is winning a Super Bowl. And if he truly believes that Brady is the route to do that, and he could get 2 years out of Brady, just my guess, he wouldn't hesitate a minute to get involved in that. But again, and I agree with you about Indianapolis. And I also think they've got an ideal coaching situation there for Brady with Frank Reich, who we both know and think a lot of.
Yeah, I think that's true. One thing you say about Jerry Jones now, he is not going to hesitate to do anything that he thinks will help him win a Super Bowl. That's for sure. There's no shrinking violet in Jerry Jones.
That's
so,
right. That's right.
Stay tuned.
Have you noticed
It'll be fun.
Have you noticed that he's been uncharacteristically quiet the last while here too? Ever since his blow up a couple of months ago. But he's not said too much. He's just laying in the weeds. This is not exactly like Jerry. But anyway, we'll see. We'll know pretty soon. They're going to have to do something.
Yeah, for sure.
One quick last question.
They got to tag Dak. If they're going to use the tag on him, they got to tag him by the 18th of March.
Yeah. And keep in mind, he could always, if he thought Brady could come in and play 2 years, just let's say 2 years for him, win a Super Bowl, and in the meantime, he could draft another young quarterback and bring him along behind Brady. Dak Prescott would be expendable, believe me. One real quick one, Bill. Where do you think Phillip Rivers might end up?
Well, all of the above. Tampa Bay, he's moved to Florida. Indianapolis, he's got a relationship with Frank Reich and Coach Sirianni, the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Any of the ones that we mentioned previously, because they all need veteran quarterbacks and they're all ready to win. I think that Tannehill, it will surprise me if Tannehill doesn't stay in Tennessee, because I think he's ideally suited to how they want to play. So that would surprise me if he were to go elsewhere. But Phillip is, Tampa Bay, Indianapolis, anybody that's in need of a veteran quarterback who can probably play 2 to 3 years, and they're ready to win and ready to make a jump. Probably good place for him to go.
You bet. Bill, listen, I've overextended you again. But I thank you very, very, very much, and hope that I can impose on you here during the tryouts and into the draft and so on.
Look forward to it, Kay. Anytime.
Thank you, bud. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
And that's Bill Polian right there. We sure do appreciate him coming on here with Talk Football, Coach K. And listen, awesome insight there when you look at a Hall of Famer right there. Awesome to see. Interesting to see what he's going to say with the Combine as well. Of course, the Combine starting on Sunday. But listen, we're up against a break here, a couple breaks behind, but we're going to catch up as you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 991 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
In Santa Rosa County, recycling is important to our county, so make sure you don't trash it. We're keeping it simple and getting back to the basics of recycling. Only recycle clean cardboard, metal or aluminum cans, and plastic bottles or jugs. Education on this subject is key. So remember, when in doubt, throw it out. Get more information and check the full list of recycling do's and don'ts at the Santa Rosa County website or at ecua.fl.gov/green/recycling.
Friends, let's talk about Daniel. A year ago, he resolved to stop putting off what he wanted to do, get into information technology. Daniel enrolled in My Computer Career and is now already a few months into his IT career. Make 2020 your year. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You could start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. Classes meet on campus or live online just 2 times a week. It ain't rocket science. It's My Computer Career. mycomputercareer.edu.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL coach Kay Stevenson. Coach, I know we got to take another break here in just a minute. I want to thank Bill Polian again out there. That was awesome. Coach, the insight he has, and the one thing I said before, this is a guy, when you look about media, a lot of people are, the Stephen A. Smiths of the world or whatever, they are drawn to what the media kind of leans them towards. There's a certain persona they have to do. When you look at Bill Polian, this is a man right here that has been through it all, and he speaks purely out of what he sees out there, of everything that he has put together.
And he's always exceptionally prepared for whatever might come up. As you could notice by his assessment of the XFL. He's talking about details there that are extremely important if they have a chance to make it. And he's got all that information.
Yeah, I mean, from the XFL, NFL, whatever it may be, he just has such a bevy of knowledge, and that's what I love about it the most. But once again, we want to thank Bill Polian there. A couple things, Coach, that I know we got to take a break, but the Tom Brady thing, I think we've talked so much about Tom Brady. When he talks about the Colts just having that same fit, I can see, of course, you guys work together. You say he's the greatest hire you ever made there. I just see when both of y'all talk about the Colts. You've talked about the Colts for a while. They're not that sexy pick that everybody says when you talk about the Cowboys, but Colts getting a little love here between both of you. And I tell you what, you guys have convinced me that the Colts actually would be the best spot for them. I know that may not be where it goes. I mean, with everything going with Jerry Jones and everything, but the Colts, you guys are on the same page with that.
Yeah, the other X factor that we haven't talked about in this whole deal is the coaching staff. MacArthur is going there. Now, you can bet on this. It's just something that I haven't really gotten into yet, but my guess is that he will check on every possibility, and he knows Rodgers very well, so he's going to call Rodgers and ask about McCarthy, his relationship with McCarthy. I don't think it was very good.
It's true.
I don't think it was very good, so he may get a bad report on that. I don't know. I'm not saying he will, but he could, and it may not be that way. They may be able to work things, out beforehand. I don't know, but that is a consideration. I know that he would have a great relationship with Frank Wright.
Yeah, so much speculation. That's part of it all in the offseason here with the free agency coming up in March as well, the Combine coming up Sunday. Listen, we're up against a break here. When we come back, we want to break down a couple things for you. And also, FSU news. Defensive back has been removed from the team. Come back with us and find out who. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
Our new PXG Gen 3 irons are the best golf irons we've ever made by a long shot. Gen 3 irons deliver game-changing distance, outstanding accuracy with a feel so soft, it's like spreading warm butter on a hot biscuit. Oh my! Gen 3 irons are sold only at PXG stores, PXG Fitting Studios, PXG.com, and at select custom fitters like Club Champion. To find out where to get your set, visit PXG.com or call 844-PLAY-PXG today.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K here on ESPN Pensacola. We sure appreciate it. Former NFL Coach K. Stevenson on this Thursday afternoon. We're so happy you joined us. Once again, thank you to Bill Polian out there joining us on the show as well. Coach, a couple things I want to get into real quick. We only have a couple minutes. Starting off, FSU defensive back A.J. Litton has been removed from the team. The report came out today. He was a former 4-star in 2018. He was the number 7 cornerback in the country. Now, he's had a little rough starts there with FSU. Things haven't gone as planned. There's no word yet. We purely speculation of what's happened. We have no idea, so I'm not going to give my opinion on it. We don't know if it was voluntary or not. Not sure what's going on.
Well, let's put it this way. I think this may be indicative of Coach Norville. Excuse me, Coach Norville coming in and installing a discipline system, which would be good news, because I would expect this and more because of the system that they had before, which was no discipline. For him to come in and have to discipline that football team, you're going to have, it's not unexpected you'd have something like this. That is my guess as to what's happening, and I think you're going to maybe even see some more of it.
Well, I think on and off the field, when you talk about the discipline coach, it's important with Coach Norvell and what he's doing here. This could be a very positive thing. Listen, things didn't work out with A.J. Litton, and of course, coming in like that, this is one of the most heavily penalized teams in the country, and you've seen that for the past few years here. So, look, Litton was rumored, this was pure rumor, but rumored to be a starter after a couple of the guys left for the NFL in the backfield there and on defense. So, interesting to see what happens here. I agree, Coach, though. I think that is a speculation on what Norvell has done right now, trying to install discipline. So if you're a Florida State fan, listen, you try to take the positive out of anything, this could be a very positive thing.
I'd look at it as a positive thing, yeah.
Coach, just talking about Brady just for a minute here, I know we got a second. Rob Ninkovich came out and said, listen, if Brady leaves, it's going to be hard to lure free agents to New England. Now, interesting to see where they would go if Brady leaves, but purely out of speculation, I think Ninkovich saying that, I think that's more common sense than anything. If Brady leaves, guys aren't going to want to maybe come to New England like they used to.
Oh, I would agree with that. I would certainly agree with that. Certainly receivers would have a second thought about it.
Smart man. Well, Coach, Been a heck of a show. Thank Bill Polian again for coming on, but it's been a pleasure, my friend.
Always. Look forward to tomorrow. You bet.
Absolutely. Tomorrow also we'll be breaking down the XFL for you as you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K here on ESPN Pensacola.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
I'm Christine Lisi at this hour. All 32 NFL owners meeting in New York City today for an update on the current CBA proposal. Major changes in that proposal include increasing the number of regular season games to 17 and expanding the playoffs with 14 teams and 6 games on Wild Card Weekend. ESPN's Marcus Spears, a big fan of the postseason aspect.
I like the fact that the league is creating more of a playoff atmosphere. We all know once the NFL gets to this second part of the season, how exciting it is for fans and people that are watching the game, and managing to do that without adding an extra playoff game, but also incentivizing teams to be the first round bye.
Owners could vote today on the proposal. Player reps hold a conference call tomorrow where a vote is possible. Browns receiver Jarvis Landry underwent surgery earlier this month on his hip. ESPN's Jake Trotter reporting he's expected to return at some point during training camp. Baseball, Indian starter Carlos Carrasco said to undergo testing on his right leg after experiencing some discomfort.
Vivid Seats, the top ticket source for the live events you crave, now has a loyalty program that allows fans to earn credit back. Go to the App Store or Google Play, download the Vivid Seats app, and enter promo code ESPN25 for 10% off your next order.
First Take, Your Take on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80, and ESPN News. I'm Jason Fitz. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. There's a new collective bargaining agreement proposal out that looks like it's moving forward. Optimism that there might be an agreement between players and teams soon. As part of that CBA, there's the proposal of an expansion to 17 games and expansion of the NFL playoffs. So I'm putting you in charge of the NFL, and I'm asking you, how would you format the NFL playoffs? That's how you get in on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. Tell us how you would format the NFL playoffs. You can also tweet me at Jason Fitz. Give me your thoughts there. We're going to get to that. Plus, Emmitt Smith said some things that I'm ready to erupt over. We're going to get to that also. But first, it's time for some Straight Talk brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. And it comes in the form of Los Angeles basketball. Max and Stephen A. are out in Vegas. They're getting ready for the fight this weekend. You can't be that close to the West Coast and not have the Lakers and Clippers on their mind. They did as they started to break down who they have more faith in moving forward to win the championship. Is it LeBron or Kawhi?
Listen, Max says Kawhi, is the best player in the world. I disagree with that. I think that Kawhi Leonard is a superstar. I think he's one of the top 5 players in the game. I got mad respect for him. But LeBron James is the top 2 candidate for league MVP honors this year, the way that he has been balling. And what I think that people miss is great. And I know Kawhi Leonard obviously plays better defense. Please, I'm not oblivious to all of that. But I think that when you look at Kawhi Leonard, he is a guy that can score on anybody. He's not necessarily a guy that makes the others around him better. Doc Rivers will do that. Lou Williams and others will ultimately step up and handle their business. I think the Clippers are a better team right now with the acquisitions of Marcus Morris and Reggie Jackson to add to what they already had. But if you're talking about just straight up LeBron and Kawhi in a